Pleased to meet you. This is Fixed and Folded, the knife review channel for the casual knife collector. I am Cody and Tommy is behind me. And today I'm going to be reviewing the Cold Steel Recon1 Tanto 2024 edition. I don't know if there's many variations of the blade grind of the Recon Tanto of the past. This is the first Tanto Recon1 folding knife I've had. This one has combination hollow grind and flat grind for the tip. I do know that the newer versions, there's been a few different versions of G10 texture, starting very coarse, going to medium, and now this is more of a fine texture, which I like for my bare hand. This is perfect. It provides some traction, but also not going to tear your pocket apart, and comfortable for the hand. But very secure because you have these finger cutouts that have some chamfering, so that you're going to get a secure grip going forward and back, and the blocky shape of the handle is going to aid in traction for twisting. So you're good for this handle design. Even if this was like slippery aluminum, this would be still secure in the hand. Think like Code 4, Cold Steel Code 4 has similar design, handle design, even though that's even thinner. That's still secure in the hand because of the finger cutouts. So yeah, this is my favorite version of the handle coarseness. I think that this is a newer pocket clip design also for the Recon ones. In my memory, the older ones were more proud. The spine was higher up and the bill was higher up. They were still comfortable in the hand, but this is, hand comfort on this one is excellent, and utility is good. There's enough of a bill here to collect under the fabric of your pants, while still being low enough to, not be a hot spot at all. And in left-handed carry, my third finger goes in the valley of the clip. So the placement for ergonomics is excellent, and the design is excellent. It's not going to be a full deep carry, and also this doesn't leave enough material out of the pocket to grab. So it would, if it was going to be a more tactical carry, it would have been nice to be a little lower here so you can grab it, or just have a full deep carry option with the clip for clip utility. But this is fine. You've got your normal 3-screw to fix the clip down, which is traditional Recon1 fare. I don't know what the screw sizes are here. So you have, is this a T9 for the pivot? Or is it even a T10? I do believe you have a T10 Torx for the pivot, and then body screws. Oh, body screws are looking like T6. Yeah, interesting. T10 and then T6s. So if you're going to be taking apart your Recon, especially with the T6s, make sure to push in while you're loosening and tightening to minimize the chance of stripping the threading. Especially if you're removing the pocket clip. I've destroyed the pocket clip on some of my Cold Steel folding knives because I wasn't pushing in enough. And even then, these screws are pretty soft. Like I didn't strip the threading, rather the actual head of the screw came off the shaft of the screw. So sometimes it's because the Loctite, Cold Steel Loctites the screws, but really it's the the hardness of the steel used is really soft, at least with the last gen cold steel screws. So just be really, really careful. Just be really gentle when you're use the minimum amount of torque required if you're going to be removing the pocket clip especially. And I imagine it's the same material as the body screws. Just be really delicate when you're removing them. That's been a design flaw. The SR1 light, that's the cold steel SR1 light is what damaged snapped the screws off when I was removing the pocket clip. Okay, so I would also be careful with the Recon1s, as the steel for the screws might be the same material. So I've owned a couple clip point Recon1s, a couple spear points over the years, and I really like a hollow grind. And so I decided to get a Tanto, because the current drop point Recon1s are back to flat grind and not hollow grind. So this was my option for a hollow grind. And one of my first cold steel knives I got, fixed blade, is this Recon Tanto in Aus 8. And the design is just beautiful. And the feel in hand is perfect. So you can see the similarities there with the blade shape. This particular one is a saber grind, but you can also get models of the Recon Tanto in a hollow grind if you go to the San Mai. And there's maybe other models in the hollow grind as well. But the profile, very similar. Here you have a sweep, you have a bit of a belly on the blade curving up, and you do have the slightest hint. This is not perfectly flat. There's a little bit of belly here, just going up ever so slightly. And then you have a straight kind of chisel looking tip. The grind is not a chisel grind. A chisel grind is just when one end of the blade is sharpened. This is a typical double bevel grind here. Both sides you've got a grind, and the grind angle is perfect on both sides, and yeah, even at the tip, which is unusual. I've had almost all my Recon1s and fixed blades have an uneven bevel, kind of goes like this one way or the other. Like my favorite hard use knife, my Leatherneck, my cold steel Leatherneck in D2, it has an uneven bevel. It's off to one side, but functionally it works great. And this has a hollow grind, and it's held up under hard use. So I wish Cold Steel would offer its Recons in both versions of flat grind if people want that perception of extra durability, but hollow grind, because in practice hollow grinds with Cold Steels have been really durable for me, and you get extra slicing efficiency. This is one of my sliciest knives of folded and fixed blades. This is a big, beefy fixed blade, and the slicing ability on here is excellent. So Cold Steel, bring back your hollow grinds. Yeah, and the slicing on this has been excellent. So this is Tanto is a specialized design. It's not going to be as good all around, as high performing all around as a drop point. Clip point is also a bit of a specialized design. I'll show you on the chart what I mean. So your all-aroundy, most popular, most sold version of the Recon1 folding knife is the drop point, and it's just a really well-balanced design. Doesn't excel in any one area, but it's 7 out of 10 in all categories of shape. You have good piercing, good durability with the convex shape, convex shape. and you have a nice amount of belly, you have a nice amount of continuous cutting edge. And then with the clip point, in theory, you're sacrificing a bit of tip strength for better piercing efficiency, because mathematically you have less material to go through an object, so this will pierce, penetrate deeper into an object than this would, given the same amount of force. And then with Tanto, you have tip strength that maximizes tip strength with the triangle shape. And this also has the thickest edge angle, but this is still good at piercing. So in theory, this will penetrate the least depth of these three into an object given the same amount of force, but this tip will hold up the longest. So this is going to be the best for hard use penetrating. Think like, penetrating into a relatively medium density object like wood. So doing survival tasks, penetrating, if you're going to be making bow drill holes or something, you should in theory get the most amount of durability out of a Tanto tip. And you do have a tiny bit of belly here, but you have a good amount of length of cutting edge on the blade, and you can use this tip, the secondary tip here, for precise draw cutting. These are all very good for draw cutting, for doing back cuts like into carpet and whatnot, but this is also very good. You can use that tip, a secondary tip, to be a focus point for cutting. So for EDC use, for cutting tags, opening boxes, breaking down cardboard, these are all going to do well. Where I've had the most difficulty with this is food prep, because an ideal food prep knife shape is something like a sheep's foot here. This is my Henkel's Santoku knife, and you have a lot of belly. This can pierce. It's really thin blade stock, and it's a cutlery. It's a kitchen knife. It's designed for food prep, right? But you can see here, you have a continuous edge, and it's long enough. Also, the handle is above the blade. The geometry of the handle is that the blade's lower than the handle, so you can work on a flat surface, anywhere on the flat surface, and have access to the food, whereas with the Recons, the blade is pretty much even with the handle, but you do have these points on the handle going below the blade, and so if you're working on a flat surface, it's going to be a lot more difficult getting all the way down. You're going to actually have to put your food near the corner of your surface and just use the blade to cut, because this is going to drop below the surface that you're cutting on, and then you run the risk of having your food fall onto the floor when you're doing that. So not ideal for food prep. But the ones with belly is going to be like this is an example of a blade with belly. You're going to have more ability to do food prep, because you can still use the blade below your hand by tilting, and then you can cut with the belly with food prep, so you can go past the edge of the surface that you're working on and do your food prep here with a lot less chance of the food rolling off onto the floor. So that's why these blade shapes with a continuous belly are going to have more utility to them, like all-around purpose over a Tanto, just because you do have this point, and working just with the point, yes, you can tilt up onto the surface and do your food prep that way, but because it doesn't have a smooth surface and it's wedgy, it'll actually like tear into like say sausage or cheese or something, it's going to tear into it and move it with the direction that you're cutting in. So again, food's going to not stay in place as easily. So this is not ideal for tasks like food prep or cutting on a flat surface. You can do it, it's just less efficient. So this again specializes in tip strength, and this is a good this is good at piercing. You can, for sure, if you put enough force into it, you can penetrate very, very deeply into the object that you're piercing. And it looks cool. I think I like just visually, I like the looks of how the blade fits in with the handle. Maybe I've been playing too much Cyberpunk lately, and you got your katanas with cool looking colors and handles, and it kind of reminds me of some kind of futuristic look. But of course, the Tanto shape has been around for thousands of years with Japanese katanas and their varying sides of blades that have been in their culture. And then, of course, Lynn Thompson from Cold Steel is one of the first American knife manufacturers to bring the Tanto into production in the United States. There's been a few others around the same time, but Cold Steel is probably the premier company for popularizing the Tanto shape of folding knives into the North American market anyway. What's the weight on it? The size is big. It's a nice big usable knife for this Recon1. You could also get a Recon1 XL, which is huge, and then Recon1 Mini and a Recon1 Micro. This is like your normal big Recon1, and I'll do a size comparison later. You have the triad locking system, which works great at securing the blade for hard use. Almost as good as a fixed blade. It really is. I've seen many videos, people batoning with these, and under normal, like that's batoning with a folding knife is just don't do it. But you actually can do it with the Recon1. So they can make a survival knife. I would in a survival scenario, I would take maybe an XL, or ideally a fixed blade, like a leather neck, or even a Tanto, or optimally maybe like a Cold Steel SRK. Just love that blade shape. A little bit like a 5-inch blade, but just think of like a 5-inch kind of shape like this. Just really good utility. Okay, let's weigh this. I'm guessing this is going to be over 5 ounces. I'm going to say 5.3, but let's find out. I've been really bad at guessing weight lately. Okay, 5.5 ounces, 5.4, 5.5. So that is heavy in my subjective weighing. I think a knife around 3 ounces is light, a knife around 4 ounces is medium, and a knife around 5 ounces is heavy. So this falls into the heavy category of knives, but it's a really quite a big, it's about as big as you want an EDC knife to get. So the weight is fine for the size. I mean, it's heavy for a folding knife, but it's just not heavy for an object. So we'll do a size comparison here. And today we've got my medium size knife. I can fit all my fingers on the handle. I wear extra large gloves. See how long my fingers are here. And this is my full-size knife today. This is the Northarm Skaha 2. Full-size knife is the Spyderco Bodacious. This is about the same length as the Paramilitary 2, Benchmade Freak, Benchmade Redoubt, Rat model Ontario Knives Rat 1. Then you go into a little bit bigger. You got the Microtech MSI, and then you go bigger into the Recon1 length and size. So you can see how this fits in size-wise. I think just for fun, I'll also compare this with one of my all-time favorite knives, SOG Seal XR, which I am going to be making a video when my black Seal XR comes in, and I'll do a comparison of the jimping of the before and after my customization to make it usable for EDC carry. And you can see where these two fit together there. This is a little bit longer, especially if you take away the extra length of the glass breaker. Overall length handle to blade. This is a good 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch longer. But then in terms of handle thickness, this handle thickness is medium for a knife this size, whereas this handle is big for a folding knife. Not big for a fixed blade, for like a survival knife. This is very much in proportion to the chunky blade, but the whole thing is just meant to give you maximum grip. So you see where that compares there? Okay. Now, I'm approaching the time of the video where I give it a score. Okay, so you know, Tantos have always had the same, specialization. So if you can do pretty much anything with the Tanto that you can with any other blade shape, it's just going to be, more efficient in some areas and less efficient in others. If you like the looks of this, if you don't have a Tanto, if you want like the sliciness of a hollow grind, I'm not worried about durability with the hollow grind. As I've told you, my leather neck has been very durable and it has a hollow grind. So yeah, I think this is one of the only Recon1 models that currently has a hollow grind that you can get. So that's one reason to get the Tanto. And then you have extra tip durability on this one with the flat grind at the end there, like a saber grind. You have, this would be called like a high hollow grind. You have a flat that goes here and just transitions at the tip. You can see the transition point where it goes from hollow grind to saber grind. You have a little swoop back there. And you do have a sharpening choil to get some extra life, extra sharpenings to keep your entire blade sharp. Blade steel on this one is S35VN, which is a premium blade steel. It's a good balance of toughness, edge retention, and stainlessness. And the black coating, I don't know how tactical that is because it is reflective. So I wouldn't say it's so much of a tactical coating so much as just a design choice. There are some models of Recon in a plain blade. I think the smaller ones you can get right now in plain blade, tumble finish, and I had a limited edition Recon drop point in plain blade. You can find some in plain blade and they're just as tactical as this really because of all the reflectivity, right? So my only complaint, it's not a fidgety, it's not a casual EDC knife like that's fun. It's not fun because the triad lock system isn't fidgety. You have to intentionally release and deploy it. You can do it one-handed with these Recons. There's a substantial amount of unsharpened blade here that comes in contact or crosses the path of the first finger groove, so you can drop it, providing that you make sure to keep your finger at the top here and not on the bottom. Like, I'm not recommending you do this. In fact, I recommend that you don't do this, because if you're not paying attention and you got your finger low, it's going to cut your finger. But I can do it. I've been doing it for years. Maybe that's me being reckless and stupid. So yeah, don't listen to my advice about doing it. But you can do this one-handed. This is meant for two-handed deployment and release. This is, designed to be a working tool, and the locking design is great at being a working tool. Yeah, the price is about 180, 190 Canadian. And that's a fair price. Made in Taiwan, S35VN G10 in this design. That's a fair value for sure for 180, 190. You might be able to get the OS 10 versions of these now for less money. If you can, I recommend that you do that, because the everyday working knife utility difference, performance from OS 10 and S35VN, you're not going to notice it unless you're just doing extreme times between sharpenings. S35VN will provide longer edge retention, better edge retention over OS 10, but for day-to-day use, as long as you have a basic sharpening system, once your blade becomes dull, then get an edge back on it. Basic blade steels should be fine for you if budget is an issue for you. Yeah, I think my only drawback on the Recon1s is possibly the strength of the screws, the handle screws, specifically those little T6 ones. I haven't had any issues with the body screws, but these just undoing the pocket clip, especially if it's been Loctited by a cold steel, can result in the head coming off, and then you're it's a real pain to fix that problem. Other than that, this is an extremely high volume selling knife for a good reason. It's a really good knife. In drop point, clip point, or Tanto, they did it run in MagnaCut with the clip point. I'd love to see Cold Steel do another run in MagnaCut, but it's not required. I mean, that's 35VN OS 10, perfectly good blade steels for working knives, EDC, but MagnaCut is a desirable collector steel. Let me know what you would like to see change with Recons, or if you think they're perfect how they are. I'm going to take maybe half a point away because of the potential issue with the softness of the handle screws, but maybe with the new generation of Recons, maybe they use a more durable steel with the screws. So let me know if you have better experiences taking the knife apart. If you just leave it how it is, probably not going to have any issues with this knife for your entire life. So I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. Might be a 10 out of 10 knife if these are durable screws now. Let me know. I'd like to see these T8s. Even if it's a good durable steel, I'd like to see these T8s. So I'm going to say this is a pretty educated 9.5 out of 10. All right, that concludes my review of the Recon1. I am pretty sure these have phosphor bronze washers. I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, I can't really see. Pretty sure these are phosphor bronze washers, which is a nice durable system of washers. More durable than bearings, just in terms of like operating under really dirty conditions, right? And yeah, they'll last a long time. Okay, 9.5 out of 10. Recon1, Tanto. If you like the looks, get one. All right, have a great day. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.